Welcome. Welcome to this debate for Mayor of Scranton Democratic primary, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Lackawanna County and the Center for Ethics and Excellence in Public Service at the University of Scranton, and the Political Science Department, the University of Scranton. My name is Diana Daigie, currently President of the League of Women Voters of Lackawanna County. The mission of the League of Women Voters is to promote participation by informed citizens in their government. The League of Women Voters is nonpartisan, which means we do not support or oppose any political party or candidate. The League is an organization of men and women of voting age. I encourage our viewers to join the League of Women Voters, which you can do on our website, lwvlackawanna.org. Membership connects you with 3 levels of the League: county, state, and national. We thank the University of Scranton for providing this facility for today's debate that we are holding without an audience. We are video recording it for subsequent viewing by the public. Please be aware that it is our policy that no person, candidate, or political group is allowed to excerpt or edit today's recording. Campaigns may post a link to the debate where viewers may view it in its entirety. Professor Jean Harris will serve as moderator for today's debate. She is Professor, Political Science, and Associate Faculty, Women's and Gender Studies at the University of Scranton, where she is also Coordinator, ready to run Northeastern Pennsylvania. Thank you, and I will turn the debate over to Jean.
Thank you, Diana, and thank you for joining us today for the Scranton mayoral Democratic primary debate. As you may recall, in 2019, there was a special election to fill the unexpired 2 years of a 4-year term of the city's mayor. This year, 2021, is the municipal election year, and so we will be electing a mayor for a 4-year term. For the Republican Party, there is one Republican mayoral candidate, Darwin Lee Shaw, and he is running unopposed. The League of Women Voters does not hold debates in the situation when there is only one candidate. Registered Democratic voters in the city will be able to vote for one of 2 mayoral Democratic candidates, incumbent Mayor Paige Gebhardt Cognetti or challenger City Controller John Murray. Today's debate will introduce you to these 2 candidates. And this is how we will proceed. This will be a 60-minute debate. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. Both candidates will answer the same questions that were developed by the League of Women Voters of Lackawanna County and not shared with the candidates prior to today's debate. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the questions, 2 minutes for closing statements, and each candidate will be allowed up to 3 rebuttals of 1 minute if they so choose. And so with that, I will introduce the candidates in alphabetical order, and we will get started. So Paige Gebhardt Cognetti, as I said, currently the Scranton mayor, and she's been mayor since 2020. And John Murray, Scranton City Controller, and he's been in that position since 2020 as well. Before we began, we took random names to decide who would go first to answer the first question. And so Paige Cognetti will be answering the first question, and then John Murray will get the second attempt at it. So the question for number 1 is, the gritty reality of being hired by the voters to serve as the mayor of the city of Scranton is that it will be a really difficult job. So why do you want this job?
Thank you, Dr. Harris, Diana, Andrea, and everyone, all of you, for being here today. I was raised to run 2 problems. In 2005, I moved from Oregon to Washington, D.C. because I wanted to be part of the change that needed to happen in the country in 2006 and in 2008. I disagreed with then President Bush's foreign policy and many of his domestic policies, and I was empowered by my family, my friends, and my education to run 2 problems. That was the opportunity that I had to move up to Northeastern Pennsylvania and first start into politics. That led me eventually in 2009 to be able to join Barack Obama's administration and work at the U.S. Treasury during a time of global financial crisis. When I moved here to Scranton in 2016, I joined the school board when I saw that the school board was in distress. I run to problems. It's what I do. I knew taking the job as mayor last year that we had crises in front of us, financial, organizational, a corruption crisis. We didn't know that the pandemic would hit, but when it did, I was ready. I was ready because I had seen crises before. I'd seen crises at the US Treasury Department. I'd seen the top policymakers in the world fight the global financial crisis, then the Euro crisis, then the Arab Spring, the Japanese tsunami that hit and roiled currency markets. I was ready because I knew that a plan beats no plan. You have to put the people around you, make the decisions that are going to be the best in the moment for the most people, and you have to act. That's what we do at the City of Scranton. We act, we do the best for the people at the time. We're ready, we're not afraid to make the tough decisions. Everything that we do is with Scranton's residents in mind, with Scranton's futures in mind, and we're fearless in that. You cannot make decisions based on votes. You have to make decisions based on sound public policy and the city's future. We do that every single day, and I look forward to 4 more years as mayor.
Thank you, Paige. Same question to you, John. The gritty reality of being hired by the voters to serve as the mayor of the city is that it will be a really difficult job. So why do you want this job?
Thank you, Dr. Harris. And thank University of Scranton. I thank the League of Women Voters for the time to get this very important discussion underway. Why do I want to be the mayor of Scranton? I want to be the mayor of Scranton to help the people of Scranton. I've been here my whole life. I've seen the city at its best times. I've seen the city at its worst times. I've been going door to door. I've been talking to the citizens. I want to help. I have spent my private life helping people, doing a lot of volunteer work. I spent 20 years in state government. I have managerial experience that goes back to the mid-'80s. I think I'm prepared to do this job as city controller. I know the ins and outs of the budget. I know what works, I know what doesn't work. I know what's on the people's minds. And what's on the people's minds in the city of Scranton right now are high taxes and unfair garbage fees. I want to put money back in people's pockets. That's my main goal. I will be here. I will work hard for 4 years in that term, and if I'm elected, I will work hard for another 4 years. I want to help the people in the city of Scranton. That's the bottom line. And they need help. As I said, our senior population is really struggling right now with their tax burdens, and we've got to change that. And I will work hard, as I said, every day to change that. Thank you.
Thank you. So the second question, John, you'll answer first, so if you want to stay at the mic, that's fine.
Okay.
What do Scrantonians value that you as mayor can incorporate into your policy agenda and/or your administrative style? So what do Scrantonians value that you as mayor can incorporate into your policy agenda or your administrative style?
Scrantonians, they value a family lifestyle that cares about their neighbor, that cares about other people. And that's what I do. I care about other people. I always put people ahead of myself. I will continue to do that. As mayor, my style is that. It'll be an open door policy. I will talk to anyone that wants to come in and speak with me in person. I will do that. I believe that my management style has always been a wide open book. Everybody has always been able to approach me. The people of the city of Scranton deserve a leader that knows what they care about, that has been here with them for the last 65 years. And I believe I'm that guy. I am the guy that can lead this city to prosper, for family values, and to bring our parks back so people can picnic up at Naog again. That's what I believe in. I believe in our people. And that's what I will bring forward as mayor of the city of Scranton.
Thank you. Paige, the same question for you. What do Scrantonians value that you as mayor can incorporate into your policy agenda and/or your administrative style?
Scranton was built on hard work. We know that the generations that have been here have worked in the coal mines, they've worked in the steel industry. They did hard jobs, and they're still doing hard jobs. We work hard at the city. We work hard every day. The values of the city of Scranton are hard work, respect, and sacrifice. Sacrifice yourself and things for your family so that your neighbor is okay. Make sure that the neighbor across the street has what they need. In no time since in decades have we seen the need for that shared sacrifice and that care for each other that we have in the pandemic. We have seen this community come together in incredible ways and work hard for each other. The local government, the state government, the federal government officials, we've all worked hard together to make sure that we're providing a foundation underneath the families that are struggling. It's that hard work that is the beating heart of this city that enables people to help each other as we go forward. My husband and I live at Summit Point. We have 12 apartments in our building, and our little nook of our condo building is an example of the way Scranton is. We're always there for each other. We had one resident who had an issue last week, and we're working hard even today to make sure that she has what she needs. It's what Scrantonians do. It's what they do for each other when times are tough, and it's the values that we have here at the city. We have to work as hard as the people of Scranton do. We're doing that hard work all of the time. We're doing that in public safety. We're doing that at our public works department, making sure that the city employees themselves are safe, especially during COVID. We're making sure that the sacrifice is there and that we're leading by example. I donate 5% of my salary back to the city. I refuse the city vehicle. I do not have a city gas card. I pay for my own stamps and my own stationery to communicate with constituents. That shared sacrifice is something that is a beating heart of Scranton. I try to lead by example every day. We do that at the city, and we know that Scranton families deserve that.
Thank you. And you'll take the first answer to this one, so you can stay there. The mayor and city council members are elected to work in the best interest of the city and its residents. As mayor, what will you do to ensure that there is a good working relationship between you and the city council that enables the city to move forward?
I began going to city council meetings right off the bat in January of last year. I'm told that I was the first mayor to do that in many decades. I frequently attend city council meetings so that I can keep up to date with city council, keep them updated on what's happening at the city, at the administration, and hear from them and also the public commenters what's on their minds. It's important to have that joint communication. I think it's very important, of course, to have that joint communication publicly. We are very, very responsive, not just to city council, but to the media. That's something that we have done from day one in our administration, including being responsive not just to the media, to city council, but also to the public with social media, regular outreach. I do a town hall for 45 minutes to an hour every Friday. That's on Zoom and Facebook. Zoom is a phone number for those that don't have the internet or a computer. We communicate all of the time. I'm frequently, many times a week, in touch with the council president, try to keep them updated, but then also understand for them what do they need, what are the ways that we can improve, what are the processes that we can put in place to better inform them as they make decisions. COVID has impacted our ability to meet in person. I'm really looking forward to us all being able to meet in person soon. City Hall should be open right now it's open by appointment only. It should be open next week, and we're in very close touch with City Council, hoping that they'll be able to start having their meetings in person as soon as we're comfortable, as soon as they're comfortable. It's their decision. That communication with City Council is critical. I really enjoy working with all of them, and it's going to be interesting to see how that race plays out, but there's a lot of wonderful candidates that care deeply about the city, and I always enjoy that communication and figuring out how the decisions that we make can do the best for the most people.
Thank you. John, the same question to you. The mayor and city council members are elected to work in the best interest of the city and its residents. As mayor, what will you do to ensure that there is a good working relationship between you and city council that enables the city to move forward?
Well, it's imperative that the mayor and council work in tandem as a team. You go through the budget process, and the budget process, council, the mayor, they each put together a budget, they get together, then they work things out. This past budget, they weren't able to work things out. You've got to sit down. It's called compromise. Just because you don't get what you want in your budget does not mean that you walk away from the budget and you don't sign the budget. I will work with council on a daily basis. I will work with council on every line item in the budget. to make sure that that budget is fair to the people, and I will sign the budget. I will not walk away from a budget. I wouldn't do that. That's not me. I'm a guy that works with people. I want to work with people. I'm going to work for people. That's my agenda. I don't have any other agenda other than to be mayor of this city. And as I said before, I will serve 4 years. I will work with council, and I will come to terms with council that we can agree on a budget, and I will sign a budget. Thank you.
Thanks, and you can stay up there, John, so you'll take the next question first.
Oh, I forgot.
I know, this is a little awkward, I apologize.
Well, yeah, but the
Apologize
last
for that.
question, we'll have this down pat. Well, that's true, yeah, we'll be all jammed up.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about the budget, which you were just talking about. Please explain one change you would attempt to make in the revenue stream of city government that you believe is key to eliminating the city's structural budget deficit.
That's a great question. And I have an answer. My answer is basically twofold. One, I would like legislation to implement a non-resident earned income tax. I think it's vital. People come in to the city to work from areas around the city. Right now, we're going to have to make up for the triple LST somehow, and that isn't going to be one way we're going to be able to do it. I think it could be less than 2%. It could bring in millions of dollars, and it could help offset any of the revenue that we may lose from that. Also, I want to implement and will implement, if allowable by state government, a 5% hotel tax. That 5% hotel tax on hotels within the city of Scranton. That money would be targeted for tourism and also for our parks as part of the whole tourism package. Our parks need upgrades. We all know that. We have a great park system here in the city of Scranton, which leads to a great quality of life, which also leads to the fact that tourism dollars bring revenue into the city. So I think actually could be a three-prong. You've got revenue coming in from tourism. You'd have revenue coming in from a 5% hotel tax, and you'd have revenue coming in from a non-resident earned income tax. Thank you.
Thank you. Paige, the same question to you. So please explain one change you would attempt to make in the revenue stream of city government that you believe is key to eliminating the city's structural budget deficit.
Earlier last year, months are going together, I formed the Mayor's Tax Policy Working Group to address this very question. The group is working hard to really look at our entire tax structure in the city of Scranton and understand what revenue streams we have now, what does the school district have now, what does the county have now, how does that all fit together, what are the things that we can adjust by ourselves in the city along with the school district, what are the things that we need to ask the state for, what are the things that are actually going to help us grow, because what we can't keep doing is trying to squeeze blood from a stone, overburdening our senior citizens that are living on fixed incomes, overburdening our wage earners who are paying a wage tax that is, more of a New York or Philadelphia level of a wage tax. It's just they're onerous taxes in Scranton. We know that. We're trying our best to figure out what those pieces can look like and laying it all on the table. Nothing can happen if we don't grow as a city. So while we do have a local services tax which does tax commuters, that LST tax, as they call it, we can continue to have that triple rate after we exit Act 47 next January. We'll be making that call along with the Tax Policy Working Group to see if we'll in fact be doing that. So that quote-unquote commuter tax, that local services tax does exist, and that is something, an arrow in our quiver, but we want to make sure that we're not overburdening those and deterring people from working in the city. The hotel tax is something that the Tax Policy Working Group is looking at, and we're preparing the documents to put that to the state. Having the tourists that come in, I don't think are going to worry about a couple of more dollars on their tax bill, but we do know that our wage tax and our real estate taxes are far too high. So we've got to figure out how we do that. We may convert from the BPM to a payroll tax in this coming year. I would like to see us eliminate business taxes completely. I don't want to keep losing businesses to Music and Dunmore and Clark Summit. We've got to retain the businesses we have, market the city to attract more businesses, more residents. Our Work From Here program on social media and in the media is important to us, and we've got to grow the city.
Thanks, and you can stay up there, Paige, for the next question. On the flip side of the budget, please explain one change you would attempt to make in the expenditure side of the city budget that you believe is key to eliminating the city's structural budget deficit.
Our administration has aggressively pursued reorganizing our healthcare in the city. We have saved already over $1 million in healthcare administrative costs. We sent out a bid last year and got a new company that is helping us manage our healthcare within the city of Scranton. We've cut out the middlemen. There were a host of small contracts, folks that were kind of taking piece by piece these kind of hidden fees, and that was costing the city and the taxpayers. We're very proud of the work that we've done on healthcare. We have succeeded in offering the same great healthcare benefits to our city employees while cutting those expenditures greatly. We know when you have a city budget, a school district budget, a state or even a federal budget, the pension costs, the healthcare costs are always going to go up. That is just a fact of life. So it is our job to try to rein those in as best we can and be as efficient with our healthcare as possible. Additionally, we're looking at efficiencies across the city in terms of our technology. We've now partnered with OpenGov, which is an absolute revolution coming in the fall for the city of Scranton, both internally for how we work as the administration, externally for the public looking for information, looking to follow the process of their permit request, for example. You'll be able to go online and see where your permit request is in the system. OpenGov will be an incredible asset to the city, both for the employees, for the public, and then additionally for our budget. We continue to work what we can with expenditures. We've made some tough calls. Last year we cut the water from the offices in the city government. There are no bells and whistles in our budget. We cut back very deeply. We've made personal sacrifices, the business administrator and I especially. We're willing to do that because we know how important it is that we maintain the great city services we have, that we continue to offer the great health care we can for the city employees, but everything has to be sustainable, and we work every day line by line to make sure that's the case.
Thank you. John, the same question to you. Please explain one change you would attempt to make on the expenditure side of the city budget that you believe is key to eliminating the city's structural budget deficit.
Well, one key change I would make is a more aggressive look at overtime within the city. Overtime was over budget last year. It looks like it's heading over budget again this year. As far as the healthcare benefits, the dollars that were saved in healthcare was at the expense of the employees. I mean, that went from a zero deductible, which we all know was too low in the insurance business, to a $5,000 deductible, which was kind of draconian when you look at it for people who are thinking about trying to make their budgets meet at their home level, because these weren't the most paid people in city government. These people were maybe $35,000 to $40,000 a year people. And I know of a person in City Hall whose spouse went to the hospital and ended up, they have a bill now of $7,000 because their braces their child had to get, that $1,500 was cut off. It just seems there's got to be better ways to go in and help people that don't get paid a lot of money. To cut their benefits and put a $5,000 deductible on people, it just seemed draconian to me. But it's, we need to look at, as I said, overtime is I don't want to say out of control, but it's too high. And there's just too much overtime in the city budget. I will go through line item by line item. I'm a proponent of zero-based budgeting. I want you to prove to me what you need to spend in expenses. There are certain costs that are there all the time. Your pensions, you do have health care, but I think we can get affordable health care with at affordable prices.
Thank you. And John, you can stay
I'm
there
staying
for the
here.
next
I'm
question.
not moving.
We'll get this down eventually. Thank you. So the next question. What are the strengths and weaknesses in city officials and bureaucrats' relations with various communities of people in the city, such as communities of color, ethnic communities, college student communities, and the LGBTQ community? So what are the strengths and weaknesses of the city and its employees' relations with those various communities?
Well, I can speak for myself on that. I'm open to everyone. My relationship in a Murray administration it would be fair and open to every group in the city of Scranton. We are a welcoming community. We are not a community that's going to turn people away. As I said, I have spent the better part of 35 years helping people. And I formed the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure Breast Cancer Foundation in 1991 after the passing of my wife, and that was to help underserved women get free mammograms and breast cancer treatment. That's what I do. I like to help people. And I will meet with everyone. I would like to see the neighborhood groups get stronger. Our neighborhoods are our lifeblood of our city. I think the mayor should sit down with the neighborhood group leaders at least once a month, whether it's coffee on a Friday or a Monday or whatever day they want to have it on. But we need to bring these leaders in. They know their neighborhoods. They know their areas. They know what's lacking. And I think working with the neighborhood groups is the best way to solve all of these things, because everybody can get involved in a neighborhood group. Thank you.
Thank you. Paige, the same question to you. What are the strengths and weaknesses in the city officials and bureaucrats' relations with various communities of people in the city, such as communities of color, ethnic communities, college student communities, and the LGBTQ community?
We have an incredibly diverse city. It's always been a diverse city, but I'm not sure that everyone recognizes that. We have a lot of young people here, especially young families, who are Black and brown and don't identify with cisgender sexual orientation. Our administration started day one listening to these communities in a way that they haven't been heard before. On February 1st of 2020, and again February 1st of 2021, we raised the Pan-African flag for Black History Month. That event has already grown in just the 2 years, and it's going to continue to grow in the coming years. Not only are we saying that we're listening, but we're showing that we're listening. We have regular meetings with community leaders of color, especially in the wake of the murder of George Floyd last summer. There were many community leaders that came to us to want to sit down and talk. Then Chief Graziano and I, and now Chief Lendemeka and I, regularly sit down with these groups to hear what it is that they need. Policing is always an issue in America, and we are working very hard with the Scranton Police Department, with these communities of color, to hear them out. Part of the results of that has been to help our recruiting for the police. We have been really effective in eliminating some of the hurdles to become a police officer, to even apply. When we got into office, and then we changed it last summer, you had to already have your Act 120 certification to even try to become a police officer, even put your application in. We've taken that off, and we then got dozens more applications when we did this round. We are looking to hire on merit. We're getting out the opportunities we have in the city to everyone. We go on Indeed and LinkedIn, and we talk on social media. We do press around the opportunities in police and fire, in the administration. We have internships. We're hiring on merit, and by hiring on merit, and making the opportunities open to the entire community, we're hiring more people of color, more people that are maybe different than the norms that people perceive. We have so much more outreach to do. We have more outreach to do in different languages, in Spanish, in Nepali, in Gujarati, in Hindi, and we're working hard to do that.
Thank you, and you can stay up there.
Every time.
Just gives you more exercise. So question one, are you in support of a county reassessment for property values? So just a yes, no, and then we'll start. Okay, so based on that, will you please explain the impacts of a county reassessment of property values on the property owners of the city of Scranton?
Reassessment hasn't happened since 1968. It just is a nearly permanent uncertainty for residents and potential businesses and businesses that are here in the city. To not have had that reassessment, to have a reassessment process looming is difficult for everyone who has a vested interest in the city, in this county. It has to happen. Our tax policy working group is looking at the question that you just posed, that how would this impact? Studies show, and our understanding, that really some people's assessments would stay the same. Some would go down, some would go up. What's excellent about the process that we would be undertaking is that many, many, many cities have gone through this before us, and there are programs that they've enacted successfully and unsuccessfully to help older adults stay in their homes and not get priced out. So we'll be able to take lessons learned from other cities to figure out what the different plans and hardship plans there are for older adults, especially if for those where the assessments have gone up. It won't be fun. It's a very expensive and difficult process, but there is a lawsuit against the county right now to push for that. I think if the county doesn't act, that eventually the courts will. We've seen this in other ways. So we will be ready, the tax policy working group, again, already looking at not just, obviously the necessity, but what will be the impact? How can we prevent people from being taxed out of their homes? We cannot have that happen, and we'll be ready, again, by being able to look at the examples from prior cities and the best practices and the lessons learned that have come out of that.
Thank you. And now you can sit down. John, the same question to you. So first, just a yes, no. Are you in support of a county reassessment of property values?
Yes.
Okay, with that being said, can you please explain the impacts of the county reassessment of property values on the property owners in the city of Scranton?
Well, as we all know, some taxes are going to go up, some taxes are going to go down, some people are going to be caught in the middle. We need to have this done. It's only fair that all properties are assessed at the values that they truly should be at. It's better for the economy, it's better for housing, it's better for the people. I, too, will not allow our seniors to be taxed out of their homes. We will figure out a way to save those people if their tax burden goes up too high. No government wants to put people out of their houses. That's not the point of the whole exercise. And we are not going to stand by and let people get pushed out of their homes because of a tax reassessment, okay? It's not going to work that way. It's got to be a revenue neutral as far as any reassessment goes. It's a countywide reassessment. Hopefully, we'll be able to work with all branches of government, be able to work with the state. We have got to come up with a way. The state has to step in here somewhere to help the city of Scranton out. They're kicking us every time we get a chance. We're getting kicked on our school taxes with fair funding. We're always getting treated like we don't deserve what we deserve. And I'm pretty much tired of that. I want what's best for the people in the city of Scranton, and I think our state government has to do more to help us.
You can stay up there, and I will ask you the
Gene,
next...
I knew that.
Now I've confused you even more. And our next question actually does talk about state government. So please describe a piece of legislation you would ask the Pennsylvania state legislature to enact that would benefit the city of Scranton.
Well, I don't know how many people are familiar with this, but they can certainly go online and look it up. There is a program in New York State, it's called the STAR program, that when people reach the age of 65 years old, they get rebates back on their school taxes, should they not have any children in the school system. It's a really great program, and it really helps out seniors. And it would be tiered on a income basis, and probably have to start it in the state of Pennsylvania at somewhere around, I don't know, 75,000 maybe. I'm not quite sure if every area can set their own limit. I know in New York they have some places that are 500,000 in income, but you get your money back from the state. And I think the state, when we've got to push the legislators, and we've got to push the state senate and the governor, this program could be paid for out of gambling money. Where does all this money go? We have all this new revenue coming into the Commonwealth via gambling. Now we've got sports book, and everybody's allowed to bet on sports, but the money's not coming back into the pockets of the people of Pennsylvania. And I think we have to push our legislators to enact a law similar to the STAR program in New York State.
Thank you. And Paige, the same question to you. Please describe a piece of legislation you would ask the Pennsylvania State Legislature to enact that would benefit the city of Scranton.
So we don't wait for federal and state help. We always have to act locally first, and that is the same with advocacy to the state and federal governments. Currently, there is a lawsuit on the city of Philadelphia is suing the Commonwealth to be able to enact gun violence prevention measures at the local level. 2 weeks ago, the city of Scranton joined in an amicus brief to be able to shape our own gun violence prevention laws here in the city. It's called preemption. Preemption, it can be called that for gun violence prevention. It can be called for environmental protection legislation, things that we're not at the local level allowed to do. We at the local level need to be able to make our own ordinances to help us prevent gun violence. The city of Scranton cannot ban weapons from its city parks, cannot ban weapons from City Hall. These are things that we should be able to do at the local level, and the state legislature prevents us from doing. We have to combat that, and we're doing that along with many other cities in many different ways for advocacy, and then also filing these briefs. And it also plays into the preemption that goes against things like us being able to enact our own plastic bag bans. The state legislature in Harrisburg is quite conservative and is really holding cities like Scranton back from being able to put forward the legislation that it needs to tailor its laws to the city. There's cookie cutter laws between the rural counties in a city like Scranton. They don't make sense. I've been partnering with mayors from across the state, learning from them, from what they've been advocating for, what they've done, and we are partnering together to advocate. I'm part of the executive board of the Pennsylvania Municipal League. We're working hard on a host of legislation, but to your question, Doctor, this gun violence prevention legislation that we need is the most pressing.
Thanks, and you can stay there. The next question to Paige to start with. What steps would you take to make Scranton better prepared for a future health emergency such as the COVID-19 pandemic?
Right now, I am in hopefully what are final talks with a set of nonprofit and healthcare organizations to fund a public health coordinator for the city of Scranton. That's the first step, is we need someone to coordinate our efforts, both in real time here as we continue to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, continue to stand up vaccine clinics, continue to try to educate the public on the safety and the efficacy of the vaccine. In the longer term, we need to work along with the county and the state to figure out what the best organization would be for a local Department of Health. Whether that would be at the county or both, say the county with another one at the city, I'm not sure. That's something that I think the state would help walk us through and determine. But it's very, very important that we have a local health department. I still don't have the data that I need to be able to fully effectively combat COVID-19. The idea that if you don't have a local health department, you can't get access to the data from the health department dashboard. It's something that across the state people are dealing with. There are only 11 departments of health across the state. It's very, very important that we do that. But again, you can't wait for the state, and you can't wait for the federal government, so we're funding that public health coordinator role, not just to combat COVID in the near term, but also to be able to do education programs around helmets and seatbelts and bike safety and everything. Gun violence prevention is another thing. These are all these things that our public health coordinator will work in concert with our public safety officers at the police department, the fire department, to make sure that people have smoke detectors in their home. All of these little things that add up to really big health factors. Will continue to be doing that, starting with this public health coordinator, and hopefully in the near and medium term with the local health department.
Thank you. John, the same question to you. I lost my place, sorry. What steps would you take to make Scranton better prepared for a future health emergency such as COVID-19?
I would work with our county government. If you saw the paper this morning, the state has approved the county to go forward in with the health department. And the city and the county should work together. We are all the same tax base. We all have the same people's at heart. We are a caring society. I mean, I don't think another layer of government should come into effect. As the city of Scranton can't be on an island, I think we're part of Lackawanna County. And if the health department says Lackawanna County should be the health coordinator within Lackawanna County, well, then I think they can handle it. They have the budget to do it. They have the personnel to do it. And they can coordinate with every municipality within Lackawanna County, as well as the city of Scranton. We all have to work in concert with this. I think it's a novel idea to have a health coordinator within the city of Scranton, but we can handle that within an administration. We can handle that with our police force and with our fire department. We can handle a lot of these things. As far as another global pandemic, oh my God, I hope we don't have one. But I think we have learned from this one, and we will be prepared going forward. We need to work in tandem with our county government when it comes to health. Okay, that's what I believe.
Thank you.
I'm not moving, Gene.
Okay. Thank you for your answer, John. The next question, and this deals with infrastructure issues. So what are your top 3 priorities when it comes to infrastructure problems in the city of Scranton? And what steps will you take to try to secure federal funding to assist the city in addressing those problems?
Well, here is the $70 million question, I guess you could call it, with the American Rescue funds that are coming to the city. Hopefully, the feds will get their act together and they will have rules in place in order for us to do this. And I, for one, want to see a more robust paving program. Our roads are in terrible shape. I think infrastructure-wise, if we can get money from that program to go forward, get our streets paved, find our curbs. I don't know where they've gone over the last how many years. They're not existent in the city of Scranton anymore. I also think we can use some of that money, I know, has been targeted for stormwater management, which is a big concern right now. Once again, the federal government is pushing it down to the local level. And as we all see the sign, stop the rain tax. I'm really tired of unfunded mandates coming down from the federal government. Do I think we have to do something about the pollution of the Chesapeake? Sure I do. But I don't think it's incumbent on the people in the city of Scranton that have to foot the bill for this. The feds come, they tell us that they want this done, and then they tell us we have to pay for it. Hopefully we can use a lot of money out of the rescue plan to do that. You said 3 things: infrastructure, infrastructure, and infrastructure. I mean, we just don't have, we're an aged city. We need to get all of this fixed. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Paige, the same question to you. What are your top 3 priorities when it comes to infrastructure problems in the city? And what steps will you take to try to secure federal funding to assist in addressing those problems?
Last spring, I started advocating for direct fiscal relief from the federal government. I led the Pennsylvania mayors in advocating for that funding from July through this year when President Biden was able to get his American Rescue Plan through. We're very proud of that work, and City Council and I worked very hard on that through that entire time. We wrote many, many letters. The last letter I remember, I almost wanted to say, we've written this many times to Senator Toomey and to others who seem to not understand the perilous situation that not just cities are in, but families, businesses, and students. So as we look at infrastructure, the American Rescue Plan funding that is coming that $70 million that the city of Scranton will be getting. We are still waiting for the Treasury Department to determine what those parameters are, and I am in close communication with the Treasury Department and with the White House to determine what they'll be. As we look to it, hopefully we will be able to use it, and I think we will for stormwater. We do need to stand up a regional stormwater authority, and as we look at stormwater as not just something that's a one-time, payment on the city of Scranton's part, we're going to have to partner with all of the rest of the municipalities in the county, figure out how we're fronting, how we're all getting that first initial startup cost funded, and then we're going to figure out how we're going to sustain it. Hopefully we can use some of the rescue fund to do just that and make a great initial investment and then figure out what that sustainable revenue stream is. The roads are in bad shape, and I was thrilled yesterday to get to go and see our paving project started. The paving project that began this week is the first of 3 this year, and we will be as aggressive as we can be. We do emergency patching. Paving is something that has to happen when the roads and the weather are warm enough and the weather permits. It's also very expensive. We will continue to figure out how we can use the funds that we have to get those roads to back up and better. But the patching that we do, even in cold weather, we have cold weather patch. We try our best to do that, and we'll continue to do that. The other piece is flood mitigation. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. And so the next question to you, Paige.
Can I just rebut that one thing?
Sure. So you can sit if you want.
I'm very happy that the paving program began yesterday, but the paving program should have begun last year when the governor lifted the COVID restrictions and people could have went back to work with no cars around the road. I think that would have been the best time to start it. We had the liquid fuels money, and we carried that over to this year to start a paving program now, which could have been started last year. That's all.
Thank you. So the next question, we will begin with Paige. Paige, the city's plan to exit Act 47 status recommends that the city government replace the business privilege and mercantile taxes with a broader-based payroll tax. So do you support this recommendation? And if so, please explain to Scranton residents and business owners how this tax swap would affect them. And if you don't support it, please explain why not.
Sure. When we took office, we knew that the payroll tax was something that the Pennsylvania Economy League and others had explored and were interested in. We're trying to look at it not as a binary choice between either the business privilege mercantile tax or the payroll tax. I'm not sure that's going to be possible for us to move away from the business privilege mercantile tax and not enact the payroll tax. The share of the city revenue from the BPM is about $2.5 million, which is something I think that we could find other revenue streams for. We are hindered by the fact that the school district earns a far larger share of its budget through that. So we're working hand in glove with the school district to determine what we can do there. The payroll tax would, be something that would be taxing payroll and would affect a wider range of businesses. So it is a more fair and equitable tax, whereas the business privilege mercantile tax is a pretty archaic tax. I'm not sure how it was set up, but it hurts some businesses, but not others. It's not fair and equitable in that way. It's also been very difficult to collect, where some people are wonderful and they pay it, others haven't paid it in many years, and we need to be collecting it better. It's also hopefully the last year of this, and we will be moving either to a payroll tax or something else. But either way, whatever we do, we need to be able to collect, and we need to be able to be fair and equitable about the taxes that we put on. So we may see a payroll tax, going through legislation in the coming months. If we can find a different set of revenue streams to replace it, either in the short term or over the long term, I'd certainly like to do that. I don't want to continue to have a business tax that hurts businesses and pushes businesses out of Scranton and into the surrounding areas.
Thank you. John, the same question for you. The city's plan to exit Act 47 status recommends that the city government replace the business privilege and mercantile taxes with a broader-based payroll tax. So do you support this recommendation? And if so, please explain to the Scranton residents and business owners how this tax swap will affect them. And if you don't support it, will you explain why not?
No, I do support it. It's a more broad tax which goes out to many more businesses at a rate that is yet to be determined. The business privilege and mercantile tax is a very onerous tax. that only attacks certain portions of businesses within the city. And a lot of people don't pay it, which is not fair. So we really don't have a good assessment on how much that is. At least with the payroll preparation tax, we know what the payrolls would be. We know that we could garner that revenue, and they would have to pay it. The mercantile and business privilege tax is on gross receipts, which it's kind of crazy when you stop and think about a gross receipts tax is a big chunk of money for a lot of people. And as far as implementing the payroll preparation tax, we are going to have to do it in coordination with the school district because we can't have a host of different taxes for everybody. But our window is closing. Our window's closing from when we exit Act 47. We won't be able to implement the payroll preparation tax. So we've got a short window until we're out of Act 47. So we've got to work hard with the school district to see what they're going to do. And we've got to get these numbers down to figure out, it's got to be revenue neutral for the first year. Obviously, a payroll preparation tax will grow over time as payrolls go up. But that's where we're going to have to figure out what we're doing, and we're going to have to work in conjunction with the school district to see which road we're going to take.
Thank you. And now I'm going to ask you the next question, John. So yesterday, President Biden talked about a train from Scranton and Allentown to New York. What, if anything, should the city of Scranton and its government do to help move that along in the federal government's list of things to do?
Well, we got a guy in the Oval Office from Scranton, so I mean, he loves trains. He loves Scranton. We just have to stay in his ear to push that train from Scranton to New York City. It's a wonderful thing. It's been talked about for what seems like ever now. I can remember boarding a train at the Lackawanna station and going to Cleveland, Ohio, when my father was having surgery at the Cleveland Clinic. It's a wonderful way to travel. However, we have to impress upon them, if they do this project, it can't be a 3-hour train ride from Scranton to New York City. It can't stop at every little town along the way to pick people up, because people won't take it. It'll be a money loser from the beginning. It's got to be a fast train that leaves the station here, maybe makes 2 stops, and gets us to New York City in less than an hour and a half. Otherwise, people aren't going to take advantage of it, because it's not going to be what they envision. You know, people these days, they like to do everything as fast as they can. That includes train travel. I love train travel. I would love to see it come back. It's going to be, I mean, it's in the Amtrak 20-year plan. We've got to try to push it forward. We're going to have our guy in there for the next 3 years. We got to get him in there for the next, so he's in there for 8. So we have to push the federal government to get this through, to get the train. It'll be great for our economy. It'll be great for the people in the city of Scranton.
Thank you, John. Paige, the same question to you. So yesterday, President Biden talked about a train from Scranton and Allentown to New York. What can the city government do to move this along with the federal government so it's higher on their list of things to do?
We are working with the Pennsylvania Northeast Regional Rail Authority, Senator Casey's office, Congressman Cartwright's office. We are going to be lobbying Governor Wolf, Governor Murphy in New Jersey, that his administration is a huge piece of this, in addition to, of course, Secretary Buttigieg at the Department of Transportation and our own, Scranton's own President Joe Biden. I actually was working yesterday on a draft letter to the president, copying all of those entities, including the Amtrak president, thanking them for this plan, but urging them that we are ready on our side to have the economy and the resident base to be able to utilize this. We do want this, and I've been talking with the mayors from our entire region about this. We have an NEPA regional mayors coalition, Mayor Brown from Wilkes-Barre, Mayor Lombardo from Pittston, Mayor Slaughter from Williamsport. A train from Scranton to New York would benefit not just the city of Scranton and those in Lackawanna County, but it would benefit our entire region's economy. So we'll be continuing to partner with our regional mayors, our local elected officials, our state elected officials, working with the governors, the administration to push this through. It will be complicated. It's funding that we need to make sure that we find some sort of funding here. We have to do our job here at the city to make sure that we're ready to grow our economy, that people are working from here, that people are willing to and wanting to and have the money in their pockets to travel to and from New York. It would be a game changer for our economy. I hate that we're even talking about it because it should have never gone away in the first place. I know my mother-in-law used to take the Phoebe Snow and has fond memories of that. But that did happen. We've got to get it back. I think we can be, not only we're on the list, I think we can be at the top of the list. I think President Biden's remarks yesterday were very encouraging, but we have to keep pushing.
You can stay up there.
Got it.
So this is the last question before we go to closing arguments.
We finally got it.
So Scranton has 5 colleges located either totally or partially within its borders. How can the city government and the Scranton community benefit even more from these institutions of higher education?
Yeah, Scranton is a college town. We're sitting here at the University of Scranton, one of the top Jesuit institutions in the country. We have these incredible institutions around us, and I am fortunate to be able to speak with the presidents of the 5 colleges and universities nearly every week. Every other Wednesday, we have a COVID recovery task force with the presidents of the 5 colleges, the parochial schools, the Scranton School District, Commonwealth Health, Geisinger, Scranton Primary, the Wright Center. We are always in contact. We started this with COVID, but it's become a really robust group that speaks about other things as well. The workforce development that we need to do, we talk about that on those calls, and we're doing a lot around workforce. Eileen Cipriani, our Director of Economic Development, was the Deputy Secretary of Workforce Development at the state level for Governor Wolf. We are working with the local colleges and unions and with their apprenticeship programs to determine how can we make sure that we're matching the educational opportunities and the training opportunities with the economy of the future. We need more nurses, we need more educators, we need more tradespeople. How do we make sure that we're matching those opportunities, that communication to our students at the even elementary school level, especially junior high and high school level, matching that with the opportunities in the economy that we have here in Scranton now, and matching the economy we want to see grow with the talent we have, with the resources we have. We are so fortunate to have these colleges and universities. I'd like us to have more opportunities for activities for kids of college age. I know that there's some interested parties looking at downtown for some different brew pubs, for example. We need to make sure that we're embracing the college town atmosphere of Scranton. And I went to college in a college town. It's a great thing for not just the students, but it's a great thing for the community to be able to celebrate that and to have that activity downtown and throughout the entire city.
Thank you. John, the same question for you. Scranton has 5 college campuses located either totally or partially within its borders. How can the city government and the Scranton community benefit even more from these institutions of higher education?
Well, I was fortunate enough to go to 2 of those institutions. I'm a graduate of Lackawanna College and a graduate of Marywood University. We have such a resource with all of the schools within the area. And yes, a college town atmosphere is what we should have here. We have got to figure out a way to bring the students into our downtown to spend money. And after COVID is over, hopefully that'll all start up. But when you look at a town like State College, which is one of the #1 retirement communities in the country, we have an opportunity here for the universities to get the word out to the people in the city. For the arts, they can go to plays at any of these institutions. We can have a working cooperative with Johnson School, maybe for some seniors to go to Johnson to take some handy courses, to go and try to get some coursework done on their own. I think the city can work with each of these institutions to bring forward a community level that we all are in this together, okay? I mean, Marywood University, I find to be one of the nicest campuses around. The University of Scranton is a great place. Lackawanna College has a footprint now in the downtown. Johnson College is a great place for our trades. We just have to work with all of these universities of higher education to bring everybody and make them be more of a part of our community than what they already are.
Thank you. And now we will go to closing statements by the candidates. We did do a draw, and Paige will go first with her closing statement, and then John. So Paige.
I love this city. I love this job. I chose this city. My husband and I are choosing to raise our daughter here. We just bought a house and we'll be moving to Trips Park in July, so Sloan will have a backyard. At the city, we act, we plan. We're not afraid to make tough calls. This has been a really hard first 16 months. We knew coming in it would be hard. During my transition, we were slapped with the Act 511 ruling and a potential $50 million liability for the city. We were already fighting crisis when we came in, and when COVID hit, we were ready. We have been equitable. We have listened. We have opened up communication. I have a town hall every single week to listen and answer live questions from you. We want to make sure that every part of this city feels a part of this city. We did 22 pop-up city halls last summer, and we'll be doing more soon. Services for the city should go to everyone. Everyone should have an opportunity to work in the city, work for city government. Our doors are open to anyone who wants to work at the city. We want to make it cool to work in the city of Scranton. We're prioritizing public safety. We're prioritizing public health. We're prioritizing code enforcement with a complete overhaul of how we do our permitting process, how we address the absentee landlord situation, and how we address rental registration issues. We're paving the streets. We're putting up street signs. We're continuing to figure out how we're going to mitigate the flooding issues, how we're going to stand up a stormwater authority, how we're going to pay for all of this without continuing to overburden the taxpayers. I love this job. I work hard at this job every day, and I personally sacrifice by giving back part of my salary. We have so much more work to do, and we've done so much given that we were steering a ship through a hurricane through it. I humbly ask for your vote on May 18th, and I appreciate your confidence in me. Thank you.
Thank you. Normally, this is the time when people get to clap, but we do not have an audience, so it's quiet. So thank you, Paige. John, your closing statement?
I grew up in Scranton. I grew up in a half a double house in the 1300 block of Penn Avenue. My dad had the gas station up at the corner. He worked hard every day, just like all of our Scrantonians go out and work hard every day. I will represent each and every one of those people. I will be your voice in government. My doors will always be open. I pledge to the people of the city of Scranton that I will work tirelessly every day to go into that office and work my hardest to reduce your taxes and bring your trash fees in order, because that's what you're telling me as I go door to door. You're telling me it's just too hard. You're telling me you want to move. I don't want anybody to move. I want everybody to stay in our town. I want people to move into our town. I have 6 grandchildren that all live in the area. I've got 3 of them that are in the Scranton Public Schools. 2 are at Isaac Tripp, 1 is at West Intermediate, getting a great education. And we've got to, even as a city, we have got to tell anybody that'll listen that our schools in this city are good schools. And that should be a reason they would want to live here, but they're not going to want to live here until we can get our tax base in order, and we have got to do that. We have got to bring taxes down and trash fees in order. And I pledge I will be here for 4 years. I'm not running for any other office. I just want to be the mayor of Scranton. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And with that, the debate itself is over. I invite back to the podium Diana Dackey, the president of the League of Women Voters.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Jean Harris, for doing a fine job as usual moderating this morning's debate. Thank you to our candidates for participating in this voter education event so that all voters can, in Scranton, can go to the polls and be more informed. And I want to thank our viewers who ultimately will be watching this program. So we encourage, again, remind all voters to vote in the May 18th election. And if you're watching this program right away, pay attention to the deadline to register to vote, which is May 3rd. I also want to remind the viewers that the May 18th election is more than a primary for Democrats and Republicans. Yes, there will be primary races for several municipal and county offices, and registered Republicans and Democrats will vote in those primary elections. In addition to primary races, we want to remind voters that there is a special election for the Pennsylvania Senate 22nd seat, and this is open to all voters, regardless of party affiliation or none. And also, there are 4 ballot questions where all voters may go and respond to questions about important changes to the Pennsylvania Constitution. Now, you can find out more information about these ballot questions on our website, lwvlackawanna.org, and there you will find some analyses of these ballot questions prepared by the League of Women Voters of Pennsylvania. And also on our website, you will be able to view not only the recording as many times as you want of this debate, but you will be able to view the one for the special election for the Pennsylvania 22nd Senate race, and the Scranton City Council, Scranton School Board, Scranton Tax Collector, and one remaining debate that we will be holding in a few days for the Lackawanna County Judges Court of Common Pleas. So please go to our website frequently to view those, tell your friends, and again, thank you, and we appreciate your support for the League of Women Voters.